Okay, so we're starting on Kuf Dalet Amud Bais on the top. We're one Amud behind. Discussing the pasuk B'chalei V'imai, what it's teaching us. So we were asking these questions about, maybe it's teaching me not just in its own mother, but maybe a kid in a cow or in a sheep. And we said, what about if it's not its mother, if it's its sister, its older sister, its younger sister? And all of those we didn't need a pasuk for. In the end, he says that what we're going to learn from it is, what we're going to use B'chalei V'imai to teach us is Hi Atzma B'chalba. It itself, the animal itself in its own milk. How is the animal in its own milk? Well, you milk the animal, then you shecht it, and then you want to cook the meat in the milk that you milked before it was shechted. So minayin, how do you know that that's forbidden? It says Amrit Kal V'chaymer. It's the top line. But there's a Kal V'chaymer. Ma b'makim shlei neser peri and peri b'shchita. In a place where there's no problem. There's no problem to slaughter two offspring on the same day. However, neser peri and ma'im b'shchita. But offspring with the mother is forbidden on the same day. Okay, so what we're saying here is that the offspring is more of a reason to be mutter. Two offspring is more of a reason to be mutter. So makim shenesar peri and peri. The bishul, if nevertheless the offspring is forbidden. Now here we're saying, what's the offspring? Milk is an offspring of the mother. And the meat, the meat of the kid is the offspring. If even in a case where peri and peri is also, so ini din shenesar peri and main bishul, is it not a kal v'chaymer that the offspring with itself here is the offspring is the milk, and the mother here is the meat. So no, in other words, we said that normally peri and peri should be mutter, but peri and ma'im is usher. That's what we see by shchita, that two offspring you can shecht in the same day, but you can't shecht offspring with the mother. So where you can't cook two offspring, the kid with the milk, for sure you can't cook the offspring with the mother, with the animal itself, the milk with the meat of the same animal. That's what we're looking for. Okay, so the Talmud Leimer B'chalei V'imai. So the pasuk says B'chalei V'imai, and now we have the same issue that we had yesterday, is that B'chalei V'imai is supposed to be telling me that if the Kal V'chaymer would be the opposite, that it should be permissible, then B'chalei V'imai comes in to tell me that it's forbidden. But here you just said it's the Kal V'chaymer tells me that it's forbidden. B'chalei V'imai tells me that it's forbidden again. So Halam Alikra, Ha'asilei. Why do you need a pasuk? You just said that the Kal V'chaymer brings it. The word asiyas, it brings, like the word ta, like tashma, come, or asa, he came. So it's come or bring it. Amar Rav Achtavei Barami explains. Mishum dikalamemar suspen susya achi perda yechia. She'aser peri and peri, umuter peri and meim. So here we have a donkey and a female horse that have an offspring. Now that offspring is not, you cannot mate that offspring with the offspring of that female horse with another horse. So why? Because you have a mule and a horse, they're different animals. So they're related, but it's different enough that it's forbidden to mate them. So we have peri and peri are usher. So if peri and peri are usher, we're seeing that there's a stringency in offspring with offspring. What about peri ima'im? That's going to be lenient, because over here we see that you can mate the mule mutter peri ima'im. Which peri would be mutter with the aim?
Both parents are horse. You got two half ones, both parents horse, and one where only one parent's horse.
Right, but then we have the other one. Okay, so the horse is mutter with the horse is mutter with the horse, but it's forbidden with the mule. So you see that there's a stringency in offspring with offspring over offspring with mother. So that ruins our kal v'chaimer. Our kal v'chaimer before was normally offspring with offspring is so lenient, and nevertheless, offspring with the mother is forbidden. That's what we had, but for shchita, offspring and offspring you can shech. Offspring with the mother you can't shech. So basar b'chalav, which is offspring with offspring, which that's very strict. For sure, offspring with mother you should be able to. Is for sure is strict. For sure. If offspring with offspring is strict, for sure offspring with mother is strict, and that would prove that you can't cook the animal with its own milk, because milk is the offspring and the animal is itself. So we say no, it's not a good kal v'chaimer, because we're going to show you that offspring with offspring is actually more lenient than offspring with mother. No, offspring with offspring is more strict than offspring with mother, and therefore you should be allowed to cook an animal in its own milk, because that's offspring with mother. And so therefore we need the pasuk. So the Gemara says this is not a good way of getting rid of this kal v'chaimer. Why? Because hasam zera avhu de kagarim. It's not an offspring with offspring here that's creating the prohibition. It's offspring with some other cause, which is over here. It's the fact that there's the mule, it's the donkey that's involved. And to prove this, the hapered ben susya achi per the yechiach. Because if you have the opposite, let's say you have a mule that two mules, and those are permissible. Shemutter peri and peri. Those are permissible to mate them, two mules. V'aser peri and but it's forbidden to mate the mule with the horse. How do you say it? I always get into trouble.
Mare?
A mare is a female horse. Is a okay.
Oh, that's what it says here.
Okay, one of my students, I always get into trouble because the some of these animals, they're not good words. My student told me, he says, actually a dog is a male. I said, oh, so what's, and he smiles. Like, okay. Okay, so that wasn't a good way of getting rid of the kal v'chaimer. Ela Amar Marbrei de Ravina. Marbrei de Ravina says, Mishum de Kalamimar Eved ben Shivcha, Achi Meshachreres Yechiach. We're going to do the same thing again. We're going to try to show that offspring with offspring is more strict. That's what we're looking for, to get rid of the kal v'chaimer. Offspring with offspring is more strict, so therefore offspring with the mother should be lenient. In the end, what we're looking for is that to cook an animal with its own milk, we're calling that offspring with mother. The milk is the offspring, and the mother here is the actual animal itself. So we're looking to make that permissible. So the example that we give here...
Before he's bringing an example from a horse, now he's bringing an example from a human. Could you learn from a human to an animal? Why don't they just blow that out?
I don't know. It's hard to explain. I don't know. I don't have any better explanation than what it's saying. So it says, Eved ben Shivcha, Achim Meshachreres Yechiach. Okay, so we have a maid servant. She has one child that's a slave. She has another child that's released. That's freed, a freed slave. Now the slave cannot relate mate with the released slave. One's considered a full Jew and one isn't. So if, let's say, the freed one here is, in this case, was the girl. So the Eved is not allowed to marry this girl. Sha'asr peri and peri. We're seeing that offspring with offspring is forbidden. However, umutter peri and ma'im. Okay, how to explain this? Let's just translate. However, the slave is permissible to mate with his mother. Now, is this actually so? I'm not sure if this is actually so. The way the commentaries explain it, there's different explanations here. Maybe it means with the mother's type, which is another slave. Okay, so or it could be that that a slave, they're not considered related in the slave category. Everyone is just an individual. There's no family, and so therefore, a slave can actually marry his mother, if that's what the Gemara is saying.
Is incest one of the Sheva Mitzvahs B'nai Noach?
Yeah, but it could be by a slave. There's no such thing as family. So that I saw the Yavitz writes that over here. He says this is a proof to that. But now, whatever the case is, we're claiming that offspring with offspring is more strict than offspring with parent. So Hassam get shichruhu the kagam. The Gemara says that's not a good proof because over there it has to do with the fact that there was a get shikhr manumission that he was freed, that he was emancipated, he was freed. Let me show you the same case, and with one factor different, and you'll see that. Take a slave that has a sister that's also a slave, and that's permissible. Shemutter peri and peri, over there it's permissible offspring with offspring. Va'asr peri and aim, but it's forbidden to have the offspring with the mother. How did that happen? How did it all of a sudden become forbidden?
It says,
in other cases.
no,
She had the kids
Wait.
and then they became free and she didn't.
Or Punt Fakir.
Or maybe the mother was freed.
She became free.
Maybe the mother was freed.
And
Right.
then, so she's Jewish and now.
Right. Okay. So whatever the case is, we don't have a proof that offspring with offspring is more of a reason to be strict. Elam Ravidi Barav Mishum Deklamemer Kalai Zraim Yechichu. Ravidi Baravin says we have another thing. We could say another way of getting this, that offspring with offspring should be more strict. She'asr peri and peri, that if you mix seeds, now the seeds here are considered the offspring. The mother here is considered the ground, Mother Earth. So you can't mix these seeds together in planting. Umutter peri and aim, but you can plant a seed in the ground. But you can't mix them. So the offsprings are forbidden, but the seed in the ground is permissible. The Gemara says, "Klum nesar peri and peri el al yedehem." What are you talking about? The whole problem is putting it in the ground. The whole problem of mixing the seeds is only in the ground. The hachiti v'sari bekadale mitzru, because putting two wheat and barley in a bucket is not permissible. Is not forbidden. So this would be similar to saying, so putting milk and meat, milk with the same animal meat shouldn't be forbidden. That's what we're trying to prove here. So Ella Amar Ravashi, rather Ravashi says Mishum Dikala Meimar. Let me go back. That's not correct. We're saying that chiti v'sari, that wheat and barley in a bucket is only forbidden. Is not forbidden because you're not planting it. Those are two offspring that's not going into the ground. So if you wanted to talk about we're trying to say that offspring with offspring is more of a reason to be strict, it's actually not strict at all. Offspring with offspring is permissible. It's only with the mother that it's offspring with the mother is forbidden. Offspring with the mother is forbidden, and that would be that milk, and with its own meat, would for sure be forbidden. So we still don't need the pasuk. So Elam Amar Rav Ashi.
Can I say something for a second? Forgive me for saying this. The fact that we're learning it, this almost sounds like a McDonald's, has sponsored this learning page to try and learn something else. But that's not what I want to say. But the fact that we're trying to bring rayas from, first we start with the animal kingdom. Then we jumped up to the
Slave.
No, to
Human.
slaves, to human
People,
being
the
kingdom.
people.
Now we're jumping down to the mineral kingdom. The kav that's common to all of them is the pnimius of Hashem, of just that they all exist only because God wants them to exist. So, if you just think of this on a different level, then you realize that there's a way Hashem wants things to be, and that is the preferred method. When you deviate from that, it's going against integrally. I can't even say the word. Hashem.
Right.
So because otherwise you say Manyan Shmita Eitzel Hasina. What's going on here? So that I think is the comment. Anyway, that's
You have to tell
that was my
Chaim.
Rabbi Drew and hasn't said a word.
No.
But that was my.
Reb Chaim asked before, how are we comparing the milk and meat to an animal? So Dr. Stein's saying it's telling us that Hashem is the rules that Hashem gave us is in every area, and it's.
That's not
so
what I
it's a-
said. I said because Hashem is within every area. That's what makes exist. So therefore, it should be the same basic rule.
No.
But I can only get a corroboration from your father later if he says anything.
Okay, Elam Rav Ashi. So rather, Rav Ashi says Mishum de Ikla Meimar, because it's possible to say Mala Peri and Peri Shekain Shnei Gufim. Very obvious that offspring from offspring are two different entities, two different bodies. You have the kid, and you have the milk. Those are two separate things. However, the kid with its own milk. Here I'm calling it a kid, but it's a mother with its own milk. So that's guf echad. So that we don't know is prohibited. Therefore, we need the pasuk of b'chalev yimei. Amar Rav Ashi. Rav Ashi says, "Minayin labasa b'chalav shasar b'achila." How do you know that milk and meat is forbidden to eat? It only says in the Torah you can't cook it. So Shenemar, it says in the pasuk le'seichel kol teyeva. It says you can't eat anything that's disgusting. Let me look over here. Le'seichel kol teyeva is the beginning of the pasuk of le'savashel gedi b'chalev yimei. It's Devarim Yudalin. Le'seichel kol teyeva. So in the same pasuk that it says, what else does it say in the pasuk? It says, Le'seichel kol nevela. I'm sorry. That's Le'seichel kol nevela. Le'seichel kol teyeva, it's not the same pasuk. It's the same chapter. Le'seichel kol teyeva is earlier. So it says you can't eat anything that's disgusting. Kol sheta'avti lach, anything that I made disgusting to you, you're not allowed to eat it. What are we referring to? Milk and meat. I told you you're not allowed to cook it. I don't want it mixed. So therefore you can't eat it as well. Now, the reason why we may have some difficulty learning this Gemara is because we've heard already, and we've learned in Rashi, that it says 3 times in the Torah, so we're saying, what does the Gemara need to go through this? We know already, it says 3 times, once for cooking, once for eating, and once for benefit. And the truth is that the Gemara is going to do that on the next page. It's going to bring Tana Debei Rabbi Shmuel. What we're doing here is not according to Tana Debei Rabbi Shmuel. There's other schools that didn't have that, and they're looking for where does it say that you're not allowed to eat milk and meat. So Here we have a source. It says, Ve'en li ela b'achila, I only know about eating. B'hana minayin, how do you know you can't have benefit from milk and meat? It says, K'der Rabbi. There's a very famous Rabbi. It's several times in Shas. It's Rabbi. It's in Baba Kama. Amar Rabbi. Amar Rabbi Lazar. Rabbi says in the name of Rabbi Lazar, Kol makim shenemar leyoichal leiseichal leiseichlu. Anywhere where that term, whatever the prefix or suffix is, of eating, you shall not eat. Whether it's a you or it shall not be eaten, or it's a plural you, or singular. Echadis or achila v'echadis arna b'mashma means both, eating and benefit. Until the Torah tells you specifically, like it does by nevela, which is a dead carcass, that an animal that died without shechita. What does it say over there? By nevela it says leger b'nesina or la'ovid kechavim b'mechira. The pasuk says that you give it to the stranger that's amongst you, or you sell it to the non-Jew. Now over there it's clear, the fact that you can give it or sell it, that means that you can have benefit. But if it doesn't say give it or sell it, then that means that you can't have benefit. So it means every time in the Torah where it says do not eat, it means you can't have benefit from it. Titania, this was taught in a Bais. You shall not eat anything that's a nevela, any dead carcass. What should you do with it? Lagerish asher b'sharecha, to the stranger that's in your gates. That's referring to a ger taishav. How do they translate a ger taishav?
A resident.
Yeah.
Saying alien resident.
A resident, an alien resident. That's a non-Jewish person that's living in the land of Israel that accepted not to worship idols in the seven Noachide laws, but he's allowed to eat non-kosher. So to him, you give it. He's the stranger that's in your gates. Va'achla, and he'll eat it. Ay mechar l'nachri, or you can sell it to a stranger, which means a non-Jew. Eily ela leger b'nesino le'ovid kechavim b'mechira. I only know that to the resident alien, I can give it, and to the idol worshiper, I can sell it. Leger b'mechira b'minayin. How do I know that I can sell it to the resident alien, to the ger taisha? How do you know that I can sell it to him? The pasuk made it look like you have to give it to him. It says Tamad leima leger titnena ay machar. You see what happened was in the pasuk, it put the two people on the two ends, and it put the verbs in the center. So it says to the resident alien, you shall give it or sell it to the non-Jew. So in the sentence structure, you have the people at the far ends and the verb in the center. So I could read it and leave out the last noun, and I can read both verbs together. So to the resident alien, you shall give it or sell it, and I don't have to say sell it to the or sell it, comma, right? And now I'm going to do it the opposite way. I don't read the first noun, the first resident alien. I don't read that. I just say, give it or sell it to the non-Jew. Okay. How do I know that to the idolater that I'm allowed to give it to him? You leave out the first noun, and then you could give it or sell it to the non-Jew. Nimtza, it comes out as echad ger v'echad ovid kechavim bein b'mechir bein b'nesina. That whether it's a stranger, a resident alien, or a idolater, you can sell it or give it. Different Rabbi Meir? That's Rabbi Meir's opinion. Rabbi Meir is very kind in this area. If you want to remember this opinion, it's because he comes from converts. So to him you're allowed, this is just for memory's sake. So to him you're allowed to give it to the non-Jew as well. Rabbi Yehuda says no, you have to read it what the Torah says. Leger b'nesina, to the resident alien you're allowed to give it. Le'ovid kechavim b'mechira, but to the non-Jew you're required to sell it. No gifts to the non-Jew, and you don't sell it either to the stranger that's amongst you, the resident alien. My time with Rabbi Yehuda. What's the reason for Rabbi Yehuda? If it would enter your mind to learn it the way Rabbi Meir says, let the Torah say, don't eat any nevela. Let it say the same way it says it actually. Just take out the word I. Or. And then I would be able to read it. The word and would have been another option of what you're allowed to do. Oy lamali. Why does it divide the pasuk with the word oy? That division is telling me that the stranger gets it one way, the resident alien gets it one way, and the guy gets it a different way. That the resident alien, the ger toishav, gets it as a gift, and the non-Jew gets it, the idolater gets it as in sale. Rab Meir Malach. Rab Meir, he says, Amalach means he would respond like this. The oy, the division here, is to tell you that the first thing you do is you give it to the resident alien, to the ger toishav. If you don't do that, then you can sell it to the idolater. Rabbi Yehuda responds, I don't need a pasuk to tell me that. Svarahu, that's clearly logical. We're obligated to support the ger toishav. You're not obligated to support the non-Jew. So of course you would have to give it first to the resident alien.
It's very strong language. He says he was a chazakta boy with chayim.
Oh yeah, they're quoting in the pasuk that says that you should support the
chazakta boy.
Right.
Very strong language. I guess
Right.
we need maids and servants. Make sure make the wife happy.
Well, I didn't see it exactly like that.
His wife
I saw it a little different. That everyone has to fulfill their purpose, and the purpose of a non-Jew is to fulfill the 7 Noachide laws, and they're fulfilling the purpose the same like a Jew is fulfilling this purpose. So we're obligated to support ger toishav. It's a ger toishav. It's
I like the wife part.
Okay. Next Gemara is an interesting Gemara. What we're going to go through here is Siman Shabbos, Chayrish, Kalai Zeroim, Oisev Espanay, and Shiluach Hakeim. Okay. Elamayata. According to this that we just said, we said that anything that you weren't supposed to do, you're not allowed to eat. Where did we say that? We said from Ravashi, Kol shetavtilach, anything that I told you not to do is hariyo b'bal toichal, you're not allowed to eat it. And you also can't have benefit from it. Where do we know that you can't have benefit? Because Rabbi says, if it says leisoichal, you're not allowed to eat it or have benefit from it. Okay?
So is he saying, because he brought down 3 different forms of lo sokel,
No,
they should not?
No. What he's saying it doesn't matter what form, what conjugate, what way you're gonna, what things you're gonna add to the what affix you're gonna put on the.
You're saying every form
of seichel is telling me eating and benefit. But according to this, it didn't say clearly that we're talking about basar b'chalav. It just said anything that was forbidden, anything that God said that you shouldn't do, you're not allowed to eat it or have benefit. Elamiyata, according to this, Ma'aser Shabbos litzru. If work was done on Shabbos, it should be forbidden. Now we know that if you cook on Shabbos, if someone cooks on b'mezid, he's never allowed to eat it. But b'shaygig, he is allowed to eat it. Or others are allowed to eat it. And here we're saying that why... Normally we say that someone that cooked on Shabbos, b'mezid, it's a knas. We don't say that it's really forbidden. We just don't want people cooking on Shabbos. So the rabbi said the person that cooked it is never allowed to eat it. The people that it was cooked for are not allowed to eat it, but others would be allowed to eat it. Now, here we're saying, according to this, that we just made a prohibition on basar b'chalav because you weren't allowed to cook it together. You went ahead and you did it. You're not allowed to eat it. Where did we get that from? Lo yisaychal kol tayeva. Anything that's disgusting, which means anything Hashem told you not to do. Hashem told you not to cook on Shabbos. It should be prohibited from the same pasuk, and you shouldn't be able to have benefit. This is something that was disgusting to Hashem. Amarkra ki kodeshi lachem. The pasuk says the Shabbos is holy for you. He kodesh vein maseh kodesh. No, I have a pasuk that excludes this. The Shabbos is holy, but the work of Shabbos is not considered sanctified. Sanctified could also mean that it's prohibited. It's not considered prohibited.
Wait, we're learning it. He's learning it from the word kodesh.
Yeah.
Why don't we learn from the word lachem? Because if a goy had cooked it on Shabbos, you could have it after Shabbos and say lachem. Why? Because he cooked it. It wasn't a Jew cooking it, in which case it would be usher, period. You could just wait and after Shabbos, certain amount of time, and go ahead and leave. No?
Yeah, so,
like that.
but we're trying to get from this is that it's totally permissible after Shabbos. Why is it permissible after
Even
Shabbos?
from a Jew.
Even from a Jew. Why is it permissible? We're trying to say it's because, why is it? Why do we have a question? We have a question because basar b'chalav is forbidden to eat, simply because you weren't allowed to do it. So anything you're not allowed to do should be forbidden. We're saying no. Here, it's excluded from that because it says kodesh lachem. Shabbos is holy for you, but the work of Shabbos is not holy, and therefore you're allowed to have benefit from it afterwards. You're not allowed to do it lechatchila, and of course, it was forbidden. Chayresh b'shar u'b'chamar v'chaysim pipara v'dashba litzru. Gemara now asks, what about if you plow with an ox and a donkey together, or you muzzle the cow while it's threshing? It should be forbidden to have benefit from the products.
And they're not.
And they're not forbidden. Because the hatiavti lachu, the Torah, Hashem says that you're not allowed to do that. The Gemara says, one second. If Shabbos, the work of Shabbos, which is much more strict, was permissible, these for sure should be permissible. Now, Rashi points out, so, well, how did we get away with saying that basar b'chalav is prohibited out of this pasuk? So he says that the pasuk is clearly talking about basar b'chalav. However, when it comes to these things, I'm not eating the work of Shabbos. I'm eating the product of the work of Shabbos. By basar b'chalav, you're eating the actual prohibition, the milk, the mixture of milk and meat. That was it itself. Over here, you're not eating the cow that's muzzled. You're eating what it produced.